We're going to call to order the meeting of the Jeffersonville Common Council for December the 19th. If everyone would please stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Samuel, if you would.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We pray that you'd be with us as we conduct city business. Pray that you would be with those that are less fortunate and are having difficult times through this joyous time of year. Just pray that you'd be with them. Be with the children in this community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilperson White. Councilperson Sestavny. Councilperson Yon.
Present.
Councilperson Maples.
Here.
Council President Owen.
Here.
Councilperson Hawkins.
Here.
Councilperson Samuel.
Here.
Councilperson Rodriguez.
Here.
Let the record reflect that 8 council members are present and Councilperson Gill is out sick.
Yeah, Ms. Gill texted me a little bit earlier this afternoon and said that she likely would not be able to make it. Let's see, minutes from the council meeting, December the 5th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Approval of the agenda.
Have any changes?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion and a second. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, claims to be approved. The general fund claims with some hand carries, I think, that came out in email earlier today. Is there anything in addition to what was in the email earlier?
Yes.
Okay, so
Do you want to?
No.
I don't know if you want to mention those 3 or not.
Yeah, those 3. The one is for Dell Marketing, which is for the computer.
right.
The other one is for Mr. Butoff for his legal services. And the other one is for Tokyo Marine, which was a claim. It was settled. I believe it was a court claim that was settled. It was from 2012. And I received it. So.
I have a couple changes on page 11. Close to the bottom of the page is Sounds Unlimited under holiday service for $12,325. That one changes to $12,330. And then third from the bottom for Sounds Unlimited, under equipment, that one is taken off completely.
The 1225?
Yes. So the net changes there is $1,220. So taking that off and then adding the 3, which is $9,174.51 altogether. Your new total is $2,645,650.93.
We had some claims that went back from our last meeting to the Parks Department. Those were all settled in the Parks meeting prior to this. All the Parks claims were pre-approved by the Parks Authority. And Ms. Gill mentioned earlier when she texted me that she had some claims that she questioned and everything that she had asked about was resolved and good to go. Is there any other comments, questions?
Yeah, let me comment. I know we have some hand-carried claims, and it's not uncommon for something to come up at the end of the year that you want to get done within the calendar year. I know in previous years we've scheduled a city council meeting just in case and then just canceled it. Just an idea in case something comes up within the next week. Maybe if we want to do that, that's something we've done in the past. We may not need that this year around, this go around this year, but just wanted to throw it out there.
As a thought, do you anticipate?
All the department
Possibility.
heads know that tonight's the last night, and then if there's anything that needs to be encumbered for next year, that can be encumbered next year, too.
Wanted to throw it out there.
It's always a good idea, just in case.
But we can do that if you'd like.
Thoughts?
Next week, Monday is a holiday, technically, right?
Right. City Hall's closed on Monday next week. And set aside the 30th, which is the Friday, just in case.
I will be out of town, but that's okay if that works for other council members.
I'd be okay with saying the 30th.
I really don't anticipate actually meeting, but we could have it advertised just in case there were something that came up.
Me too.
And we do it either at noon or earlier than 7 at night, Friday night.
Yeah, I think, in fact, that's what we've done
Yeah,
before.
we have done that, yeah.
Lunch meeting.
I'm okay.
Lunch meeting on the 30th. Ms. Yan won't be able to be there?
But I'm sure that you'll send out anything
Right.
beforehand usually, so if I have any questions, I can correspond before the meeting.
Okay.
I won't be here,
You won't be here?
and we don't know, she may not be here.
So, well,
The 30th?
The 30th.
Friday the 30th.
when,
Want me to go ahead and advertise, or you want to wait? Because I got to do 48 hours excluding holidays and
are you
I
going to
would.
be gone the whole
I
week?
think go ahead and schedule.
I would be safe.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
June hours.
Yeah,
That's good.
yes.
I won't have it.
No, that's why I handed it. Because they did send out
I'm
a...
sorry, what are you going to
If we meet.
Are there any other questions and claims? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve claims of $2,645,650.93.
Motion and second. Anything further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Said. I heard two.
That was one.
So 6-2? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Report of the clerk. Ms. Conley?
Well, this is the last meeting of the year, and I think it's been a good year. Appreciate all your all's help and everything. I was listening the other day, though, to a gentleman from Wisconsin speak, and thought it was, he's a senator, federal, up the White House, up in Washington, D.C., and he made a comment that I think is very important, that we all elected officials remember this time of year and for the whole year. And that was, when you serve the people, not your party. And I thought that was very well said at the end of the year for him to make that comment. So, and again, I enjoyed working with you all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business. Mr. Lewis, 16 OR 84 establishes the internal control standards. This was presented last time. It's uniform control standards that come from the State Board of Accounts.
Yes, this, as explained last time, we need to have this passed and in place no later than December 31st of this year, including the training for watching the video for all employees and office holders. I think you all got that link, correct? Okay. We got to make sure we watch that and then have the certificate signed that you watched that video.
Do you need that as our counsel, or
I don't need it, but I think the clerk,
Yeah.
does it go back to the clerk or the controller?
Well,
I said it's both.
I scan them in, and then
Okay.
I make sure that they're in on the public documents, and then
Yeah.
give them to Heather.
Yeah, I'm not the one that uploads them, so either Vicki or Heather need to get that document before December 31st.
If everybody hasn't done that, please make a point to do so this week. So
It's
they
about a
can-
25-minute video.
Who sent the link? Because I don't remember seeing that. And I know I've not done it.
I think Vicki and maybe
I
Scott.
sent it, and the internal controls certificate, and I think somebody else sent it out.
Yeah, I think I sent a link too, so I don't know if it saw that. It's about a 25-minute video It's a direct link to the
State Board of Accounts.
State Board of Accounts website. That's what they're considered their training for all office holders who approve claims and all employees who handle money or employees who process claims have to watch this training video.
All boards, too.
It's what?
All boards that
Did we
are,
just
all
decide
boards,
that
yes.
we're just going to do blanket, everybody pretty much watch?
I mean, basically, I mean, you're kind of on the honor system. It's up to you all. I mean, I think with the employees, were you all bringing them in groups to watch the video as a group, but
I know a lot of departments that have already done
yeah. I mean, with office holders, I mean, you can do it as a group or you're on the honor system individually to watch this video and certify that you did watch this video.
Now, is that every board member, like every appointed board member has to have it, or every board member?
I mean, basically, it's boards that approve claims or process claims. I mean, that's how it's defined. So if it's one of those type of boards that approve claims, process claims,
So like, the Board of Zoning Appeals doesn't process claims. They
I don't believe they do. So,
No, but Nathan and his staff.
But the board
Yeah.
members wouldn't have to.
yeah, the employees who actually do. Yeah, but if
like redevelopment, Parks Authority,
Right.
Green.
drainage.
sewer board,
board.
yeah, and I put them on notice so they know that. They've got the link on
Great.
that. So,
Have there been any changes to the ordinance?
I've not made any changes, no.
I'll make a motion to approve 2016 OR 84 on the third and final reading.
Motion and a second by Mr. Maples. Anything further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business, Mr. Merkley, an ordinance establishing an Abbey Road on the River non-reverting fund.
As the council's aware, next year Jeffersonville will be the site of the Abbey Road on the River event. Parks Department is coordinating and helping sponsor this event. And as part of that, sponsorships will be sold, is my understanding. Also, tickets will be sold and other monies collected. And the Parks Authority and Paul Northam are recommending that a non-reverting fund be established to collect those dollars, that they do not be deposited in the general fund, but rather into a Abbey Road on the River non-reverting fund. Obviously, this can only be established by the city council and by ordinance.
Just for cleaner tracking,
Yes.
practically.
What was that?
For cleaner tracking?
Yes. Otherwise, the rest would be co-mingled.
OR 85 on the first and second reading.
Second.
Motion and second. Anything further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
That was 85.
Yes.
85.
Scott Lewis, this would be number 86, I presume. The ordinance establishing the Public Arts Commission, repealing and replacing the prior Public Art Committee.
Yes, I was asked to prepare this ordinance by Nathan, and I think we kind of touched on this, that this would be coming before you at the last meeting when we had the resolution establishing the Jeffersonville Arts and Cultural District to kind of coincide with the formality of having an arts and cultural district to be consistent with that particular program that goes through the state of Indiana Arts Council. It's recommended to have more of a formal public arts commission. So I was asked to prepare this ordinance. This ordinance, I did some research with all of the cities. And there's only, I think, about 8 of them that actually have a formally certified arts and cultural district. So I kind of looked at their ordinances that have created or established the Public Arts Commission in those communities. And this one is modeled on the city of Bloomington. It kind of seems the one that most people kind of model it on. And as you know, before, through resolution, we had created more of an informal public, we called it like the Jeffersonville Public Art Committee. It was more of an informal ad hoc committee. So this kind of formalizes the process, the appointments to be consistent with the Arts and Cultural District. And we also incorporated, when you go on the powers and duties on page 2, paragraph F, numbers 4, 5, and 6, that was basically the language verbatim that was in the existing resolution for the City of Jeff regarding the Public Art Committee. Because I know before, when we established a Public Art Committee, and I think this was brought up at the last meeting, there was concern about, what control does the Public Arts Commission have for property that may be owned by another governmental board like redevelopment. And this incorporates the exact same language that's in place right now for the Public Art Committee that says if if you look at paragraph F5, that the determination of the creation and placement of public art on city-owned property shall be subject to the approval of the appropriate city board, city commission, or other city entity that has legal ownership or legal control over that property. If you look at paragraph F6, talks about that if the determination of the creation and location of public art involves the expenditure of any city funds, then the said determination shall also be subject to the approval of the common council. So these are provisions that obviously doesn't give carte blanche power to this Public Arts Commission. There's still some checks and balances. But basically, it states that's consistent the way it's been operating under the Public Art Committee, that they basically oversee or originate, initiate, and review public art projects on city-owned property within the Arts and Cultural District. They don't have any other authority outside of a public art project. I know that was asked before. So like I said, this is consistent with other communities that are certified Arts and Cultural District.
Sorry, go ahead.
How many appointments are there currently?
5.
There's 5, so this is expanding it to 9?
Yeah, to 9.
I know you mentioned that was something you want, okay.
Yes.
Scott, the Bloomington ordinance, does it have the same kind of allocation of appointments?
What was that?
The Bloomington ordinance, does it have the same type of allocation of appointments to mayor and council?
Well, they had 11, and when I met with Nathan, we suggested that 11 may be a little bit unruly to have 11 appointments, so we decided that maybe 9 would be better. I mean, obviously, that could be amended or changed if you all want, but we figured getting to 11 appointments, that's a little bit too large of a committee.
Mm-hmm. What about the appointing authorities? Did they have 7 from the Bloomington Council and then 2 from the mayor? Or?
No, I think it was a little different. I think it was like, they had like some mandatory officers within the city that were part of that, and the mayor had, I think the mayor and the council had almost the same or maybe 1 or 2 different, and then they had like a mandatory representative from the arts community. It was a little different. So this was something that we had talked about.
One of the questions I had on the, it lists the terms of the members and that they're staggered, but it doesn't really, do we have a way to determine whose terms are going to be shortened for their first term to?
We didn't put it in this. I would just assume whenever those appointments would be made, we would say, you know, the first ones are for 1 year, the second one 2, and 3. But
so we didn't decide that when we appoint them?
Usually you do that when you create a new board. It's when you first do the appointment, and then you have it documented on the certificate of appointment that the clerk holds, so we can monitor when those terms happen. And as you know, the reason why you stagger usually, because you don't want to have a situation where an entire board term ends. You want to have some continuity.
And then what is the art administrator's role with the commission? Could that person be a member, or is that person not permitted to be a member?
No, I mean, that's something we kind of talked about doing, whether you wanted that to be an automatic member or not. For some reason, when we talked about that.
I don't think it was intended that they are a member, and it's not automatic. I don't think because pretty much I just let Scott. I asked him to do this, and he did it, and I thank him for that. We didn't really talk in great detail about that piece, but I would assume that the art administrator would not be on the board
and just sit in on the meetings.
And almost kind of help.
Give a report.
Help. The way it's done now is we have a chairman. I chair the meetings, but we go through some different business. But then I pretty much defer and let the staff member, if you will, just kind of lead off on the projects and the
probably a lot like the planning board, planning commission.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about. She's more of a staff member rather than a board member, and that would be kind of a conflict, so to speak.
So would this commission be over the budget line of public arts, or not be responsible, or not have responsibility for that budget line? This is just
I don't think they would have budget control. I mean, that would be something that the city council, as the fiscal body, would decide what type of budget to allocate to them. I don't think they would have independent budget authority.
Right, but are they allocating it to the commission?
When you say they.
Are we?
Well, that's your choice. I mean, that's your choice how you want to allocate the budget dollars. I mean, that's deferred to the city council. That's your authority. You can decide how you want to do that. I don't think it necessarily needs to be addressed in an ordinance. I mean, that's something that you would do at budget time.
But if the commission had expenses, it would come out of the public art fund, right?
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying, but,
That's what he's asking.
yeah, but I mean, you would set up as the budgetary authority, you would set up whatever dollar amount and line item for
We'd
that.
set their budget, but they would expend from that budget. They would submit claims.
But they would
from
submit
that.
claims that still have to be approved by the city council, as it's stated here.
Right.
They just can't expend funds on their own. They would do a recommendation, and it still has to come before the fiscal body for approval of claims.
The only issue I see is, for me, is that the allocation, the appointing authorities is majority council as opposed to the mayor. I think I would be more comfortable, I may be the only one who thinks that, but with the 5, the mayor appointing 5 members and the council appointing 4, because that'll be part of the administration, unless I'm seeing this incorrectly.
What's the current allocation of appointments?
The 4 council, 1 mayor. I mean, it's not
But now it's just a committee.
we just tried to expand it. I mean, I have no real strong impetus either way.
So you'd be okay with that? You could structure it 4 mayor, 4 council, and then 1 council has to sit on it. That would give you your 9.
That'd be 4 and 5. I mean, ultimately.
That'd be 4 from the mayor, 4 from us, and then one of us would be on there also. You okay with that, Nathan?
I'll make a motion to approve 2016 OR 86 with the following change. Under letter C, that reflect that 4 members be selected by the council, 4 members from the mayor. Let me back up. 5 members from the council, 1 of them must be a council member, and then 4 of them from the mayor.
Second? I'll say.
Second. Oh, there's 3.
The motion, Mr. Samuel, second, Mr. White. And anything further? Passing on the first and second reading with the change under letter C.
What number is this?
86, I believe. Anything further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Opposed? Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. I'll make this change.
So we now have to prove it as amended?
Mr. Merkley, 2008 R30. An ordinance amending 8 R30, resolution establishing the merit board for the Jeffersonville Police Department.
You have in front of you a proposed ordinance that comes to the council upon a recommendation from the Merit Commission. In fact, the resolution is attached to the ordinance indicating that the Merit Commission has recommended that this change be made. As you're aware, we do have a Police Merit Commission. It was established pursuant to state law or state statute, and has been the manner in which we have hired new police officers for the past several years. At the time that it was established, rules were adopted by the Merit Commission that were also ratified by the City Council at that time. The rules currently call for 1 list of qualified individuals to be hired based on various factors to fill vacancies with our police department. The Merit Commission, along with the police administration and the police chief, is asking for a second list to be added that would give another option for the administration, and it would be a list that would include experienced officers. It will be called an experienced officers list, in which officers who have already went through the academy, they may be police officers that are currently working for another department, that list be a separate and distinct list, but it would be a list in which could be hired to fill vacancies. The police chief and the administration believe that this gives them more ability to fill vacancies quicker if needed, as opposed to having to send someone to an academy and wait several months for them to graduate from the academy. This person could be on the street much quicker, and also potentially will be less expensive as well, since we will not incur as much cost in training. So this would require the council to adopt this ordinance, because the rules are established by ordinance, and the current ordinance does not allow for this list. And the police chief is asking, along with the mayor commission, that this list be added and this be considered on the initial reading. And I believe
We have the president of the Police Merit Commission, Mr. Snelling, is in attendance. Also, Mr. Butoff, their legal counsel. If you have any questions for Mr. Merkley or either of the other gentlemen.
I've got a question. If we'll always give them the option to choose from both lists, is that, or is it just in emergency situations where we need somebody quicker?
I'll defer to Mr. Butoff, but my interpretation would be is it's a or.
So we got two lists.
Yes.
We can pick and choose from each
Yes.
one that we want.
Is that correct? As it's written? Yeah, as it's written.
Bob Bodorf, on behalf of the Police Merit Commission. You all doing okay? I've prepared an hour-long presentation. I figured right here before the holiday everybody'd want to hear about the Merit Commission. So, no, in answer to that question, that was originally proposed where there would be an emergency situation that the department was in need of officers being hired for an emergency vacancy. At the last meeting, that language was stricken from the resolution and from the ordinance. And so at this point, it would be it's basically an administrative determination whether or not an administration determination whether or not they need to hire an officer from the experienced officer list, or whether that officer needs to come off of the way I think of it as a new recruit list. A new recruit being someone who has not been to the academy, has not had that training, and will, basically have to go through that process before they can be placed on the street. But that will be a determination that can be made by the administration, the police administration, not by the Merit Commission.
Gotcha. So someone who's completed the academy but is not employed would be on the newly created list and not the new recruit list. Is that correct?
Well, that's not... I guess I should start out by saying the change that is happening right now doesn't actually change the rule itself and create the procedure by which this list will be created, the second list. All this ordinance will do is give the Merit Commission authority to go ahead and begin creating that procedure, okay? So I haven't presented, and I didn't present this in providing it to council. I didn't give them the actual rule that we've been working on, and I can do that maybe before the next, the next reading, to the extent it gets to that point. But the rule itself, the way I think it is intended to work, is that you can be on either list. I think the way the rule reads right now, you can be on the new hire list or on the experienced officer list. It's just that you can't be on the experienced officer list if you have, unless you have prior police experience and have been through the law enforcement academy.
So theoretically, somebody could apply and be on a list and be at number 7, but if they already have the police academy, they can go to this list and be a number 1?
I think theoretically, as I understand the rule, now Mr. Merkley was involved in drafting the rule change to the rules and procedures. So he may be able to answer that better than I can, but the way I understood it was you could be on either list as an experienced police officer who had been through the academy. And yes, you could be on, 7 on one and 1 on the other, is the way I gathered that.
You have an officer that's just gone through the academy with another department, and they apply for the experienced list. They may not make the higher list from that experienced group, but then apply later for the regular list. Because as I understand it, and I haven't talked much to the chief about this, but I understand they're going to do 2 separate hiring processes. Is that correct, Mr. Snelling?
That is correct, yes.
To get on the experience list, it's more than just have the academy. You've had to be an officer for at least 2 years on a department to make the experience list. So you have to have in the academy 2 years. And what you'll do is you'll apply. And I understand the confusion, but actually, if you are going to be on the experience list, you will not be able to be on the new recruit list.
Okay.
And the reason why is because to make the list on the experienced officers, we are dropping the written test portion of the hiring process. Therefore, you have basically, because you've already been an officer for 2 years, we have on-the-job experience so we can review. Therefore, we're not asking for you to take the written test, but we are asking still that you have to take the physical agility test, and then you'll still go through the interview process, and then you'll still get your combined score. The only element is we're taking out the written test, where on the new hires who have no experience or could just be straight out college or actually you don't have to college, but you take you sign up, take the test. That's how you compile the new hire list. And we'll maintain both lists at the same time. So the only, like I said, the element you're taking away from the experienced hire list is the written test. That's the only composite score. When you do your composite score, you don't have that. But you'll still do the interview process and everything else.
So there's no
You'll be placed in the order form. So you're still, however, the highest score, the highest composite score on each list will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's up to the chief or the administration to ask for what name on which list he or her would want. But they still have to go in order form. So if you go experience, you're still at number 1, new hire. I call it new hire. I don't know why I do, but rookie, 1. But then when the sheriff wants, for the county. When the chief wants the next one, you still go to number 2, number 3. There's no skipping down. So it still follows the same order form.
So there's no chance an experienced officer will be on the new hire list?
Yes.
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 That answers my question.
Well, no, that's not what I meant. There is a way. There is a way. Only if an experienced officer can be on both lists if he or she elects to take the test. So I don't know whether or not they would, but I guess theoretically, to answer your question, yes, they could be on both.
They went through the process for both lists.
Yeah.
They would have to take the written test.
Take the written.
On the list.
Yeah.
With the
I don't think that's what's envisioned for the.
I just don't like the idea of being on 2 lists and having a different number. Potentially, if you did take the test and he's at number 7 here and he's on the experience list over here at number 2, there's a reason he's at number 7 over here, and then he could theoretically be the second police officer in line. It's a little.
And again, all this ordinance does is
allow for a second list.
It authorizes a list, and then the Merit Commission would adopt, which you all have appointments to, which would determine the rules for the hiring off that list and the eligibility on that list.
I know one of the things that it was mentioned, it would save money because we don't have to send them to the school, the academy. But when we hire them, will they hire in at the same level as a new officer would hire into? So they would not hire in any kind of rank?
Exactly right. No matter if they were a captain, a sergeant, from wherever department they may come from, they will still be started as a patrol.
And if the chief was here, I think he would tell you that he has advocated this for quite some time, and the timing was just not right. We thought it would be best to do this starting at the beginning of next year. But he believes that he can get officers on the street much quicker if he has this option as opposed to going through the academy. And
roughly it's taken roughly 37 weeks for a brand new hire. to go through the training, go through academy, the FTO program and everything, where they can be actually cut loose, to actually be on the road by themselves.
Other communities have this, New Albany has it.
For clarification, to kind of the Ed's question, currently when we hire a new officer, they come in at 2 steps below base pay, I believe it is. Are you saying that they're going to come in 2 steps below base pay or at base pay, which is a patrolman's?
They would stay hard.
They'd be hired as just like a rookie, I guess I should say.
Okay.
Still at
that cleared up.
Still at that, I think it's 20% below base pay and then bumps up to 10, then he gets to base pay at year 3. That would still be the case for these.
Correct.
That's my understanding.
Kind of example, if you look at Officer Brody that came from Sellersburg, when he came, he gave up rank and whatever level of pay he was at. When he came to us, he started out at that entry level.
Anything further?
Just question. I assume, Les, the mayor's on board.
Yes.
Is pushing, supportive of this? Thank you.
It's number 87.
Move that we adopt 2016 OR 87 on the first and second reading.
Motion and second. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Hawkins. Motion passes.
Radio voice.
All righty. Mr. Merkley again. An ordinance amending portions of the zoning ordinance.
This is becoming like an episode of Groundhog's Day, but this matter is back in front of the council. It's been the planning commission, it's back. This is an issue, again, establishing the certificate of zoning compliance, and Mr. Pruitt, Nathan Pruitt, zoning director, is here, and I believe he can discuss what changes have been made as compared to the prior versions that have been in front of the council.
Good evening, guys. So this is back to you for the last time, hopefully. We worked with the Building Development Association of Southern Indiana, Charlie Smith, who is the executive director of that board representing home builders and commercial builders within the Southern Indiana region, to revise some of the fees that he had voiced a potential concern over. So we sent some emails back and forth, and I sent him a copy of where we were with the fees previous to the Plan Commission meeting. He basically gave me the nod that it looked good. He did not attend the Plan Commission meeting, and this was favorably recommended at Plan Commission, and it's back before you guys today. So I know I sent this out about a week ago, I think, for your review. Obviously, the big components that changed are the residential fees that stepped down. And then we also stepped down the final record plat and special exception use as well. So if you've got any questions, I'm certainly able to answer those. But like I said, I've discussed this a couple times with you guys. And obviously, Lisa has been a huge proponent, as well as Les Merkley, of the certificate for zoning compliance, as we've described before, what it does for us and what it does for business owners. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What's the number?
88.
Motion to pass.
I think real quick, Les was checking so we can look at
Oh, sorry. This is
All, the rest of them will be too.
yes.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. I forgot to. This is a one reading only ordinance, so we have to have a public hearing. This time we'll open a public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to speak on 2016 OR 88? No? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And now we'll have a motion.
Motion to pass 2016 OR 88.
Motion and a second. Anything further? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Whoa.
Okay.
I'm going to ask for a roll call.
Thank you. Write this down. Councilperson White.
Aye.
Councilperson Sestopny.
Yes.
Councilperson Yon.
No.
Councilperson Maples.
No.
No?
No.
Council President Owen.
Aye.
Councilperson Hawkins.
Yes.
Councilperson Samuel.
Yes.
Councilperson Rodriguez.
No.
5 yeses, 3 nos.
Motion passes. All right, Mr. Merkley again, or Mr. Pruitt, whichever. Ordinance changing the zoning?
So this will be a public hearing.
Yes, ma'am. This is for property located at 1914 East 10th Street.
Let's see. Nothing here.
So,
Yes, currently this property is zone multifamily. The application is asking it to be rezoned to commercial, specifically to C2, which is medium to large general commercial. Kurt Rafferty is the applicant for the rezoning request, and Mr. Rafferty, I believe he is here. Okay, our representative is here, and this did receive a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. And if you could come forward, and I believe this is for a Dollar General store.
Good evening, everyone. Hi. My name is Will McDonough from Paul Primavera and Associates, located at 301 East Chestnut Street, Corydon, Indiana, 47112. This is a property that is being rezoned or requested to be rezoned. Went through the Plan Commission. We had a favorable review. This site across the street is commercial. Right next door is commercial. Across the street of Woodland Court is industrial, and then behind us is the residential areas. We met with, or have gone through the plan with the planning director, Nathan Pruitt, and followed all their steps to have an applicable development to help enhance the area. And I'd like to answer any kind of questions that you may have.
Dollar General Market or just a regular Dollar General?
It's a smaller store. It's the 8,500 square foot store that they have. It's the Market store is a larger store. It's a 12,000 square foot store. This is actually on their smaller scales. It's like what they consider a metro store.
Like the one at 10th and Walnut?
It's slightly smaller than that. It's about 700 square feet smaller. It'll be an all-brick building, similar to that, but...
The ingress and egress, is it on Woodland?
Yes, sir, it is.
I have a lot of concerns over just the traffic right there. I've had some calls, and I travel right by there and do that quite a bit, and there's a great deal of traffic. It's already there, and I would assume this would add to that. But
this was actually, I'm sorry, this will actually take, there's one that's right there across the street, down just slightly. This will be replacing that store, actually. It's in a strip center.
The one that's in Jeff Plaza?
Yes. So the traffic will be similar, if you will.
The same owner as the one at 10th and Walnut?
Dollar General is the same occupant, yes.
It's not franchised out?
No, it's a different owner, correct.
So it's a different franchise?
It's, the way they do it, it's an owner owns the building to Dollar General specs. Dollar General then has a triple net lease for like 20 years for that property.
It's a different owner than the one?
Yes. As far as I'm aware, yes.
At Planning and Zoning, it was a favorable recommendation. I know Lisa voted against it because she was concerned. There was concern about traffic.
I believe in the zone, I believe it was all favorable. I think it was the development standard that she...
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, for the rezone was favorable. Yeah, the concern was traffic, and she voted against the plan.
Right.
Did the development, I guess the development plan pass? Though.
It did pass.
Okay. At this point, we're going to open a public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak for or against the zoning change?
I can say something. I'm one of the owners of the property.
Yes, ma'am. If you would come to the microphone and give your name and address for the record. And then You'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Becky Zerschmied. I'm one of the 5 owners of that corner there. I know you all are talking about traffic and all the traffic that's there. I don't see that it's going to create any more traffic than already goes up and down the road. I travel the same road. I go down Woodland Court to get to where I live on Cardinal Lane. I don't see it being an issue. I know there was some talk of what was it called? A deceleration lane. There's no deceleration lane that's probably a block up the way there at Renfro. You know, there's a shoulder there, but there's a sign that says don't turn, from the shoulder. So I don't see that being a big issue, personally.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to speak for or against?
Nathan, did you get any phone calls or emails related to traffic?
We did get a couple, but I don't have that list with me right now. We reviewed the plan with engineering. City engineer didn't have any overt concerns with the development plan. I do want to say one thing for the developers. They did voluntarily not to put an entrance on 10th Street and create another curb cut, which is a good thing. We're trying to provide some access management, and if there's a local road, we are trying to convince developers to go always off the local road rather than 10th Street, the arterial, to try to reduce points of conflict. So they did do that. But to answer your question, yeah, we did receive a few calls, but city engineer didn't see any overarching major concerns.
Thank you.
This time we'll close the public hearing. Just for the record, I got 2 phone calls. I'm sorry, 1 phone call, one in person, kind of asking to vote against because of the traffic concern, and I think one was probably because of the nature of the business. However, I would remind that we are voting on the C2 zoning for the property, not for the project. The project was voted on at the Plan Commission with the development plan. This is we are determining if C2 is a proper designation for that piece of property on 10th Street. And so that is solely what our vote should be based on. Not what the property will be, but should the property be zoned C2. And in my opinion, it will be. I mean, all of 10th Street, most of 10th Street, up and down is commercial. So.
If I may. Mr. Pruitt, does this fit into the 10th Street corridor plan?
Yes, so generally, like Matt Owen just described, 10th Street as an arterial should generally be commercial in use, and hopefully some mixed use eventually, and paired uses behind it, but generally this would fit in keeping with our plan for 10th Street of commercial uses. Yeah.
Woodland does connect to Renfro that does have the stoplight. One of the person that called asked if there would be a stoplight put in, and I mean, I'm not in favor of any additional stoplights. I argue about that at every redevelopment meeting. So, I'm not in favor of any additional stoplights, just for the record.
Question for Mr. Pruitt. The M1, what is the least amount of housing that can go in an M1? One house?
It would probably be, I'd have to look at my use table, and I don't have it in front of me right now. It'd probably be something like a duplex, and that's about it, just because of the size of the property. It's very small.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Duplex, triplex, and quadplex. That's what it looks like. This would be number 89, correct?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion past 2016 or 89. Second.
Motion and a second. Anything further? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
7-1. Okay. Mr. Markley again, ordinance changing the zoning of a tract located, located at 4901 New Chapel Road.
This is request, again, with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission, asking the council to rezone the property from R3 Old City Residential to C2 Medium and Large General Commercial. This is one of the, maybe the last parcel that is part of the proposed development near the 265 interchange, which has already been zoned commercial. I'm not sure if the applicant is here or representative from the applicant, Brandon Denton. Okay. I'll let them explain.
No, it was just me.
Sure. Scott Hanna from Heritage Engineering. Brandon's out of town, and his partner Tommy Floyd's here. He can answer any questions as well. This is kind of a little straggler. It's a .24 acre tract. It's 4813 New Chapel Road. We took some larger portions through, and it was approved, I believe, at Charles' last meeting, or maybe 2 meetings ago. So a small tract. It's going to be part of a 67-acre larger PD development that we've been working with staff on. Does that go back before the Planning Commission? Actually, so when we get some more details on this PD book, we'll be back in front of you, which I'm pretty excited about the development and here to answer any questions, but I think...
I'm sorry, I just have one question. You mentioned it was 4813 New Chapel Road. We have 4901. Is that correct on our end? Just want to make sure we have the right address.
It's a good question. I have 4813 listed on my application, but I could be wrong.
I can clear that up if you don't mind real quick.
Let's look.
I can
Oh,
clear it up real quick.
Sorry.
So there are occasionally issues where addresses are not appearing in the GIS system at the county level, and so there's not an official address of record. There are sometimes addresses that applicants have or the post office has used in the past, but they're not really official. So what we did is we just got the parcel number, and we did everything based on parcel number. So it's as clear as
I
day.
just want to make sure we had it correct
Yeah.
in our...
Just like the public advertisement for public hearing 4901.
Is it?
Yeah, we gotta make sure.
There is...
We can't prove 4813 is correct.
Yeah. The GIS record says to be assigned, just as a notation within the GIS system, so it actually has no official address. That's the closest one we could come up with. Sure. Yeah.
And I think it was brought up at the Planning Commission level that there's some, I think Sellersburg Fire Department may actually lease this building, and they have some stuff in there. The applicant has agreed to work with those folks and getting out whatever's in there. They're not going to just kick them out. So we've got some time to work with those folks and let them get their stuff out.
It's Utica Fire Department, but yes.
Which one was it?
Utica.
Utica, okay. I'm sorry.
Utica, old Station 2. Old Station 2. Okay. At this time, we're going to open up a public hearing. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak for or against the rezoning? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
I'm just concerned, it's probably not going to matter, but I'm concerned if somebody was looking at this address and they said, no, I'm concerned about 4813.
Yep.
Not that they would, I don't know, but legally, is that an issue? Did we have a sign up at the property the whole?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And evidently, the problem we have, there's no address, so what we may do in maybe in the future is not only list an address, but also a parcel number or a tract number.
The other thing, Nathan, in the ordinance it has Exhibit A, so Exhibit A actually shows an actual map.
Yeah.
But that's correct.
Yeah.
As long as you guys are good with it, that's okay.
Yeah, I think there's adequate notice.
Okay.
I mean,
So the advertisement included the map, the physical map, or we're good with having that map attached to the...
yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve 2016 OR 90 on the first and only reading.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Anything further? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Rose, can we get his name again?
Oh. Sir, you state your name for the record for the clerk. You can get it.
Scott Hanna, 603 North Shore Drive, Jeffersonville, Indiana, 47130.
Hannon?
Hannah. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right. And Mr. Merkley again for property at 5506 Highway 62.
This property is currently zoned as C1, which is small to medium general commercial. The applicant, RSC Development Group LLC, is requesting that it be rezoned to C2, medium to large scale general commercial. I believe this is for an actual doctor's or medical office. It again comes to the council with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. And I believe the applicant is here tonight and is represented by Mr. Applegate. Is that correct?
Is this property behind the new McDonald's?
Yes. It's on Carrie Ann Way. If you're driving on Carrie Ann Way towards 62, there's a McDonald's. Just before you get McDonald's, there's the vacant property back there.
Did you hear anything about that?
No, in fact, at planning, the HOA president of Stony Brook, which is the neighborhood that's on Carrie Ann Way, had met with the developer and was saying their praises, really pretty highly about them working with them, what the building would look like and what's going to be there. So I know our question is about zoning, but even what's going to be there is everybody in that area is pro.
Yeah, I heard the same.
Cool. It's not always been that way for that piece.
It is not.
All right, at this point, we'll open up a public hearing. Is there anybody to speak for or against this zoning change? Seeing none, we close the public hearing. Is there anything from the council for Mr. Applegate?
If you ask him one question, he can talk all night.
Let him say
I just want to advise you that.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to pass 2016 OR 91.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Anything further?
I don't care.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Close and passes. Motion passes.
Thanks for your time.
All right. That's it. Council attorney report?
Nothing for tonight.
Is there any public comment?
No, no one's signed up.
No shame. Any department heads like to speak? No department heads here, I don't think. Oh, Mr. Pruitt. Ms. Metcalf? Nobody? No? Mr. White?
Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. If I left one out, I apologize. It's been my first year on the council, and it's been an honor to serve as a councilman for District 1, and I think we're doing good things as a council together. And just wanted to tell everybody that I've enjoyed working with you over the past year, and look forward to working with you over the next 3 years. That's it.
Mr. Z?
Yes, I have something. I sent an email out to everybody related to our BZA appointment that we need to make because Connie Sellers got elected and needs to step off the board. And there is somebody I think that's qualified to do a good job, and his name is David Stinson, and he is here. David, you mind coming up here? I sent a quick email out kind of giving a little bit of background, and I just wanted everybody to I guess, see who David Stinson is and see if there's any questions that you wanted to pose to him. Or, David, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you think, you'd like to be on the BZA.
Yeah, my name's David Stinson. I lived in Jeffersonville for 48 years. I've been involved in building and development for 25 or 30 years. And I currently work for Pace Contracting. We're a large-scale commercial contractor in the Louisville and Jeffersonville area.
One of the things I said in the email is that David, over the years, would talk to me and say, "Did you see that property over there? Why does it look like that?" Like he has high standards and wants the city to look nice. And I think that and part of what BZA does is make variances that make sense. But if they don't make sense, somebody's got to say, "No, that doesn't make sense. It's not safe and it doesn't look good." And I think that's something that David would be good at. So I don't know if there's any questions or not. We could. At the next meeting, I guess I'd make a motion for us to consider David Stinson.
Okay. The only question I had, I didn't know if there would be ever a point where your employment comes into conflict.
The only thing that we've done for the city of Jeffersonville that I can think of in the last 5 or 6 years is they do periodic maintenance work for our sewer department.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. No, that wouldn't be any conflict of interest, no, sir.
And I would assume that if anything came before the BZA, that he could just abstain, right?
Yeah, if for some reason our company was involved, I would just state that. And
Yeah, Les just poured out 2 day rezone.
Oh, yeah. Cool. I think it'd be good.
I appreciate you coming tonight,
Okay,
too,
thank
and
you.
introducing yourself.
Thank you very
Commercial
much.
development on that.
Do you guys have any questions? Just get with Ed. He can give you my number or email, and I'll be happy to answer anything you want.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Ed,
That's all.
do we have to wait till next year? I mean, you know, he's going to have a meeting at the end of the month if he's...
No, we don't have to wait. I just didn't want to put the board on the spot to vote. But if you want, if everybody's comfortable, let's go ahead and we can go ahead and do it.
Sure. I'll second your motion.
You made the motion?
Yes, I did.
And Mr. Rodriguez seconded. Was there anything else?
I just have a quick question. So we'll start this as of January 1, 2017?
Because they're not going to meet this month anyway.
Yeah, they're not going to meet.
Yeah, they've already met.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Congratulations.
Thank you for being willing. Is that all?
That's it?
Would
Yes.
you mind sending me
Yes, sure will. Yes.
Ms. Yon?
I just want to echo what Dustin said. It's been a very eventful year on the council. You know, we agree on a lot of things. We disagree on some things, but in all, it's been a pleasure working with everyone. And I think we've all put a lot of time and effort into making Jeffersonville better, and we have a lot of exciting projects coming up in the next 3 years, and look forward to continuing it next year. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
Mr. Maples?
Yeah, I voted for the Merit Commission to have 2 lists, but I would like to lean heavily on our appointees to try to make sure that any subject doesn't make it to both lists. I think that could be a potential problem, and I was going to reach out to them and express that. I think it is a good thing, for sure, to have an experienced officer list, but I do have a small concern with that, and I just wanted to state that.
And we could reach out to them and ask that they provide kind of the criteria or the process that they're working on before we pass on that 3rd reading.
Yeah, I don't think the intention is to do that. I just see a loophole kind of in there to do it. I don't know why you would go to the new hire list if you have the option to automatically go to an experienced officer list. It was just a concern that I wanted to express. And Merry Christmas.
Mr. Hawkins?
Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope everybody gets what they want for Christmas and not what they deserve. One comment I do have, it has been a great year. I think I don't have anything to compare it to, but I feel like we've done a lot of good things. It seems like we've been very busy. I didn't think it would be this busy. And then to go along with that, and it pairs in with what Vicki said, her comments at the very beginning, I have been, and I've mentioned this once before, pleasantly surprised in that no one has ever approached me in a partisan way. I've never been, the words Democrat and Republican, I have really only heard maybe one time in a year, and that was a pleasant surprise coming in not knowing what to expect. I think everybody's voted their conscience, and I think everybody comes from a certain place, and I've been surprised by that, and I hope we continue that.
Okay. Mr. Samuel?
Yeah, just a comment. I voted against the rezoning. I just find it interesting that we hear presentations that we don't have enough housing in Jeffersonville, yet we just recommended taking a housing plot off the grid and put a business there. That's why I voted no, is because I just thought that was ironic. Also tonight I heard, and it was very good to hear that we have a number of police officers wanting to transfer to Jeff. I've sat in on negotiation hearings for 8 years. Fortunately, I'm not a part of that now. But I heard a lot over the years that we can't compete, we got to be here, here, and here. And it's good to even hear that folks are dropping rank to come to Jeff. So kudos to our police department and our administration for making our police department something that people want to come to. I didn't want to let that go. And Matt, you probably will mention it, but it just exciting thing that happened yesterday, the bridge opening. That's a huge deal for our community, and that's just exciting. So, Merry Christmas to all you and your kids.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Looking forward to next year, and I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That's it.
All right. Couple of quick things. Bless you. Wanted to kind of give a quick update. We had our Parks Authority meeting before this meeting. The Parks Department has started pickup pickleball at the field house on Monday mornings now. It's kind of this new thing that people are getting interested in. This week was our third week. First week, one person showed up. Second week, 2 people showed up. And today, 6 people showed up. Pickleball. Yeah, I am not sure. I haven't investigated further. But apparently it's like a cross between badminton and tennis. And it sounds very interesting. But hopefully, that will continue to grow in popularity at the rate that it's currently growing.
It was cold this morning, too.
Yeah, I know. So, good things happening there. Also, the Parks Authority changed their meeting times for 2017. They will still meet on the fourth Monday in the Mayor's Conference Room, but they will meet at 5:30 instead of 6. So all those days are the same. December is on the third Monday before the council meeting at 5, but everything else is the fourth Monday at 5:30. And then also, the Parks Authority asked me to consult with you on looking at our process for claims in the future. There was a long discussion, I consider a long discussion, on what the process should be to approve claims out of the parks budget. Should the Park Authority be approving those, or should the council be approving those? There was a feel that there was some confusion having both boards approving claims, and so they would like the council to look into that and kind of clarify through the ordinance if they need to approve their claims, or if we expect to continue to approve their claims. It was good discussion amongst the members on which way would be better. I don't know that there was a preference. They felt like they would be more informed to approve the claims, but they also recognize that they only meet once a month. We discussed that meeting once a month can, put a burden on some vendors who are waiting to be paid, but we're okay with that as long as the council's okay with that. If the council would like to approve the claims at our council meetings, I feel that the authority was receptive to that also, but they want it to be one or the other. There seems to be confusion as to if a claim comes here and is approved but doesn't get approved there, or vice versa, what is the process? Who has the final authority, if you will? And if claims are getting approved or not at the authority, and then something else happens here, it feels a little bit of a hodgepodge. In the past, the president of the authority has sent the claims out as they've been sent out to the council, and he's asked that the authority members submit any questions over the weekend before this meeting, and that has worked okay, but that's not really an official way of doing it. So they would like clarification from the council on what the process should be moving forward in 2017. Other than that, I echo what everybody else has said. It's been a great year. There's been a lot going on. We've done a lot of things. We've approached many issues, and I'm really proud of the work we've done in 2016. Appreciate everybody's dedication, and Merry Christmas. Is there a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned.